Hello, my friends. My name is Justice Knight. Today, filling in for Lisa Haven unexpectedly. We had a series of events occur yesterday that landed her into emergency surgery. So I'm going to ask for your patience while I work through this broadcast because we had to, unfortunately, even though I was blessed to have made it there just in the nick of time to have an ailing and injured Lisa have to walk out so we can have a moment together before she went into surgery. And when I say walk out, I mean walk out of the emergency room physically, because that is the only way you're allowed to see a loved one. But I'm going to continue that rant over on Restricted Republic, because if I do it here right now under my emotional state, I promise you I'd get her in a lot of trouble. And I'm not going to do that, but I do invite you over there to watch that broadcast. I'll give you the details in a moment. But before and as I work through this, please be patient. This is information we both wanted to present to you. It's about Operation Legend and the federal charges that came down today and how this ties into money. Money, money, the root of all evil. Well, once again, there's a very close correlation between the cities involved in Operation Legend and money, or lack thereof. And we're going to get there as quickly as we can. I'm running through some notes, and also on my lap is my phone because at any moment I'm hoping to get an update on how her surgery is going. So we may break. You may hear it live. It just depends on what breaks here. But one of her sponsors and one of the texts she had to send me, because I can't see her face to face, obviously, was an amazing sponsor that you want to make sure I did not forget about. AgeWithLisa.com. This is BioTrust, an amazing product line, one that we have in our household, multiple products in the product line, all absolutely incredible. 4,600 better than turmeric. Yes, the immunity boosting effects you've heard are 100% true, even better than vitamin C, but only if you use the right kind found in this supplement. We utilize it in our home, and this is one we are proud to utilize. Everything that they have given us and provided us so far has proven beyond a shadow of a doubt to be an amazing, amazing product, amazing sponsor. We invite you to go over there, AgeWithLisa.com. Take them up on the 51% off, and you will not regret that decision. But now going back to the 1,000 arrests, including suspects in 90 murders, or going back to the 1,500 arrests, because mainstream media can't get anything right. They never can get anything right. Why should we be surprised? And that's why we tell you don't go to mainstream media. Well, most people would be happy about Operation Legend. Well, except those cities involved with the money that we're gonna wrap together very quickly here. Portland official, as city burns, there is a violent and tragic history of oppression in our country. No, the tragedy is the fact of how you run your city, what you're allowing happen to its residents, and the fact that you're trying to point the finger of blame in a different direction. That is the tragedy, but there's a deeper saga here. You see, it's an underlying problem. Iowa State professor threatens to dismiss students who oppose abortion or BLM. You see, everything's all mixed up nowadays. It's confusing. It's a purposeful misdirection to keep you confused. But it's why you're here. It's why hopefully you go to my channel. It's why you're at Restricted Republic, because we can uncover this and uncover it in very simple terms. So today we'll handle the math, the financial side of things. Truth in Accounting 2020 Financial State of the Cities. Very interesting publication. It's a long publication, 188 pages that we're not going to put you through today. We're going to take the highlights. 63 cities do not have enough money to pay their bills. $323.2 billion in unfunded debt. Well, those numbers start to twist into this, the protest, the riots, and even COVID-19 in a weird way, and we'll get there. And there's your 75 city ranking chart. At the very bottom is the worst. Those with the biggest taxpayer burden of New York, Chicago, New Orleans, Philadelphia, Portland, shocker, Nashville, San Francisco, Baltimore, Cincinnati, Milwaukee, St. Louis. I want you to remember some of these names. This is the bottom of the list. Kansas City, because those names are going to carry forward into our broadcast. Of those, 63 of America's largest 75 cities are completely broke. Well, Justice, what does that have to do with the story and the rioting of Portland that you showed? Well, it has a lot to do with the story. Has a lot to do with Operation Legend. Federal charges by the numbers. We're mere pawns in this game. Mayors worry Trump's Operation Legend is more about politics than law enforcement. Well, is it? Some argue that thus many of the cities are swing states. And Trump's trying to make a stand. Well, if we didn't have the riots and the looting and the destruction of property, and the residents within those states feeling insecure based on what's happening with the defund the police movement, then there would be no need for a federal response. Because if you know what I stand for state rights. And federal shouldn't be intruding in the states, except for when the state fails to provide for its citizens in the level of safety and protection and economic stability. All of which many of the cities within Operation Legend are having issues with. Let's start with Kansas City, Missouri. 20 defendants have been charged, and I'm not going to go into the filings because that's not the critical part, but we're going to stay on Kansas City, Missouri. We're going to go to D to Z, and how is their financial health in Kansas City? They have a D rating. And I'm going to go full screen so you can look at this a little bit closer and how this operates. Kansas City has $1.5 billion available to pay for $3 billion in debt. Well, those numbers don't work out very well, do it, but does it? But Kansas City mayor says he learned on Twitter that federal officers were in his city. What's the matter, Mayor? Do you not want the federal officers there? Do you want the looting and rioting and protesting to continue? Well, that seems a little bit counterintuitive, doesn't it? Or is there something larger at foot? Kansas City receives $18 million from Jackson County in CARES Act funding, the mayor says. A redistribution of wealth. You see, you're going to learn about each one of these cities in Operation Legend. Democratic strongholds. Democrat strongholds, not democratic. I got to stop. It's a word we're trying to twist away from. They want to keep using the word democratic. They're Democrats. There's nothing democratic about it. Chicago, 34 defendants charged with firearm-related offenses. Well, that's funny because wasn't Mayor Lightfoot, before she backtracked, urges President Trump not to send federal agents to Chicago, said it would spell disaster. Or would it spell the end of the looting and riots? So there's two cities, and either one seem to show a propensity for wanting to stop the violence. 61 charged. Hey, wait, Chicago's short $2.7 billion for infrastructure? And how's their financial status? Oh, they get an F. Chicago has $10 billion available to pay for $46.5 billion worth of bills. This was you and I, we'd be bankrupt, we'd be bust, and these cities, trust me, they're bankrupt. So again, how is this agenda twisting in? America's largest cities drowning in debt, with Chicago leading the way. So why would they, on one side, not want to stop all this rioting, looting? They don't have the money to fund for it. To fund it, obviously they're in debt, so there must be something larger occurring here. Is there handout waiting for federal aid? Is there handout waiting for other people to assist? Because the cities not involved in this are, well, many non-Democrat cities. Cities that don't have the financial burden that these cities are holding, or cities that just simply haven't had these issues. So who's going to be in a position to have to help these other cities who are allowing everything to crumble and burn around them? Or is that the hopes that they're going for? You see, you always have to follow the money. Bottom 5 sinkhole cities: New York, Chicago, Philadelphia. Chicago pops up again. New York pops up again. Albuquerque, New Mexico, their financial status is a D. $637.5 million to pay for $1.6 billion in bills. City of Albuquerque sends Trump campaign $211,000 bill for rally, asks him to pay our taxpayers back. But Albuquerque, do you really care about your taxpayers? Because you've really done a poor job based on a financial status of protecting them. We could do the same with Cleveland. Financial status, another D. We have $1.8 billion to pay for $2.5 billion. Detroit, same issue. The financial state of Detroit, another grade of D, 2.7 to pay for $3.9 billion in debt. But at least the police chief said he would welcome federal help if protests turned violent. So there's a ray of sunshine in this argument. However, the mayor of Detroit, Mike Dugan, said the surge was not initiated by the city of Detroit. We didn't want Trump in here. Well, why wouldn't you? You can't protect anything. You can't stop what's going on. So why wouldn't you want some help? Your police chief did, but the mayor didn't. You see, it always appears to be the mayors who don't, isn't it? It's the sequence of events. Milwaukee, Wisconsin, 8 defendants charged. Milwaukee, another D as far as budget. $1 billion to pay for $2.8 billion. 3.8, sorry, as I saw my phone ringing there. I just want to make sure. $1 billion to spend to pay $3.8 billion in debt. In a statement last week, Milwaukee Governor Tom Barrett said he was extremely concerned that President Trump is looking for opportunities to create more political division in cities across the nation following unrest important. Federal agents are not welcomed here for that purpose, he said. If the federal presence is to truly cooperate with local law enforcement, and then it's imperative to limit their activities are clearly delineated and monitored. Mr. Trump has painted an apocalyptic portrait of American cities and lashed out at the radical mayors that govern them. Well, based on what's happening in their cities, was he wrong to do that? St. Louis, another D. The same St. Louis that arrested the gun-toting couple trying to protect that home. Memphis, Tennessee, another. Oh, they're actually a little bit better. They have a C rating. How much are they in debt for? They have 1.7 to pay for 2.5 billion worth of bills. So these cities, among other Democrat-led cities, top the list as worst-run cities in America. You'll see a correlation, 150 down to 132. And many of the cities we just discussed sit within this same list. I stack ranked it from worst to best. Sure enough, you find Detroit, you find Chicago, you find St. Louis, you find Memphis, you find Kansas City. The worst run cities. And we'll go a step further. America's top cities for crime and what party runs them. I know this won't shock many of you. There, Detroit pops up again. Violent crime rate, 20.0 per 1,000 residents. We'll go down and you'll see St. Louis. You're going to see many similarities. Once again, Kansas City, Missouri, the same cities over and over and over, who've misrun themselves, not only bankrupt, but into crime. And they're wondering why they have to send in federal task force now to fix the mess. But it goes back to that argument of money, doesn't it? Because if everything continues to crumble and the mayors leave their hands off and say, hey, we don't know what's going on here. Hey, we just hate that Trump guy and don't know what he's doing, so keep your federal agents out of here. So that our cities crumble a little bit further, so the rich have to rebuild. So all the rich people who own businesses, they'll be able to put money back into their businesses, and that's supposed to be a good thing to help the economy. But that just takes more money away from the rich. The poor get poorer because there's less jobs and people moving out of those cities, making them even more devastated. So who gets the money then? Who's going to fund it? The government, who's collecting all the money throughout its entire system right now? You see, it's a redistribution overall, the devastation of the middle class. It now takes 53 weeks of every year to pay for your basic needs, your car, your rent, your food, your health care, your education. The problem is there's only 52 weeks in a year. You see what's happened to the middle class? It's been devastated. And if you think this riots and these looting and COVID-19 is going to make it better, oh, it ain't going to make it better. It's going to make it much, much worse. The other way, the coronavirus will ravage our cities. So you start to see the entire agenda and how it takes shape, how it takes financial shape. The redistribution of wealth is extremely real. You're seeing it play out before your very eyes, but most people won't put the numbers and the math to it. It's there. And now we're going to take it from a pleasant broadcast, and we're going to move it on to something slightly different. Cuomo says New York City restaurants may close as temperatures drop and fall. It's nice how much these Democrats care about their business, isn't it? So I'm going to close by starting here. Is anyone safe from COVID-19? No. Your family, your friends, your loved one. Let me show you here for 1 minute. This beautiful woman right here, who the only way she could communicate was to have to send me a text of her from her hospital bed. This is the time where I'm going to lose it. And I'm going to move off before I say a single another single word, because it's going to get bad. We're going to have, as I always do, a very frank discussion on these impacts of COVID-19. I hope you'll go over to Restricted Republic. I hope you'll join us there. Right now, 14 days for free just for trying. If you don't like it, cancel at any time. My emotions have now completely gone out of whack, so I'm going to end here. Thank you for letting me join in. Thank you for letting me fill in. Lisa really wanted to be here today, but there was just no choice. I will keep you posted. I did not get the update. That's concerning me, but sure everything will be fine. Keep you posted. Make sure if you haven't subscribed here, you do. Make sure if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, you do. We'll have more updates. You may see me tomorrow. So until next time, Godspeed and God bless. On behalf of Lisa, and can you please say a special prayer and have her in your hearts tonight that everything ends up okay. Godspeed and God bless. Justice Knight signing out.